Is Javon Kinlaw on the verge of a breakout season? He had a terrific practice yesterday. He had a sack in team drills, which I can't remember the last time he did that. He's a really good athlete. He hasn't done one-on-ones yet, so I don't know. Maybe when he gets in there, is going to dominate. I don't know really what to expect from him in year two. What do you think? What are you expecting?
Yeah, so I've been out on a limb when people have asked me this question. I think Kinlaw has become a common answer, but I was answering this maybe in April before the draft itself that I thought he would be the breakout player. Part of it is I am biased. I was a huge Javon Kinlaw fan before the draft. I thought he was a hell of a player, and I still believe that. I thought he had a good rookie season. There were some things that I felt like people expected from him that I didn't personally expect from him. I think people expected him to come in and be a 6'7" sack guy. He's not a sack guy. That's not who Javon Kinlaw is. I think he had 7 sacks his final year at South Carolina. Grant has commented about his pass rushing ad nauseum and compared it to DeForest Buckner, who is a sack guy, who is capable of getting 10 to 12 sacks. I think Javon Kinlaw having a breakout season next year will be more dependent on his impact. And I think that impact will be for those who sit and watch the game rather than you won't be able to track his impact in the box score. I think Javon Kinlaw could have 4 sacks next year and have a hell of a season. Heck, I don't expect him to have anything more than 6 sacks. I expect him to be 4 to 6 sacks, but I still think he could have a really, really good season having 4 to 6 sacks because the first thing is he has to be a dominant presence in the run game, and it doesn't have to be with tackles for a loss. It has to be with penetration, him using his size, him shedding blocks, him taking on double teams, him being strong at the point of attack. All things he did fairly well in the run game as a rookie, and I expect that to improve. And then as a pass rusher, for him, it's not as much as him finishing plays with sacks or him getting beating guys clean the way DeForest Buckner does with his spin move or shooting a gap, as much as him just being able to move the pocket and ruin the pocket for the quarterback and allow other players to eat and get around him. And I think if he's able to do those things and show his power and explosion as an athlete, 100%, I think Javon Kinlaw can have a breakout season. It's just you have to temper your expectations of what a breakout season is. I see people coming out here and saying Javon Kinlaw is going to have 9 sacks. That's not the kind of player Javon Kinlaw is. Nick Bosa isn't going to make Javon Kinlaw have 9 sacks, but I think Javon Kinlaw can have a really, really good season with 4 sacks.
Yeah, I think what's interesting about Kinlaw is it's so obvious he's nothing like Buckner.
No, but he's a totally different style player.
Yeah, like I actually think of him more like a nose tackle. And you think like, well, nose tackles aren't impact players. Well, Vita Vea is a nose tackle and he's an impact player, and he only gives you like 3 sacks a year, but he's extremely disruptive. Everyone knows it. Mm-hmm. He's one of their best players. And Kinlaw, a couple of like last week said he really emulates himself after a young Ndamukong Suh. Same kind of player, not super refined, just overwhelming. And all I was saying was I didn't see that from Kinlaw last year, but he was a rookie. Rookies often aren't overwhelming. Maybe this guy will end up being the Niners version of Vita Vea, in which case, hey, good pick. Because Vita Vea was like a pick right around the same spot, no? He was the 12th pick.
He was the 12th pick when people thought they should have taken Derwin James. And Ndamukong Suh was
I don't think Kinlaw's quite as good as Vita Vea. I think
no.
Because everyone's like, Kinlaw's so big, he moves so well. Vita Vea is bigger. All I'm saying.
And moves just as well.
Yeah, it moves just
as well. I think a lesser Suh is the comp. And to be fair, Suh had 10 sacks as a rookie and has basically lived between about 4.5 to 8 sacks for the rest of his career. And I think there's people that would make the case that Ndamukong Suh has put a borderline Hall of Fame career together. He's been fairly good at every stop he's been. He's always been physically dominant against the run. He makes impact plays in the pass game. If you watch him, there's a lot of plays that Ndamukong Suh makes in terms of screwing up plays that he might not be credited with anything in the box score. Chris Sims calls it the F the play up. Javon Kinlaw, if he gets a lot of F the play up type plays next year, to me, that's a breakout season.
Sean says Kinlaw seems to be one-dimensional. Veteran guards can easily shut him down with sheer technique. That's what I saw last year. Like that's Tomlinson is just a veteran guard, not a great one, not a bad one, a solid guy who knows his craft, and he just took Kinlaw to school. So I'm not saying he's still that guy. I want to see it.
So that's what I expect to really change. I just
Yeah.
expect him to be too physically overwhelming for guys who try to technically. Because at the end of the day, this guy is 6'5", 230 or 330, and he wears
Yeah.
330 like it's not like Mike McGlinchey. He has to drink 5 shakes to be 330. He gets out of bed and he's just a mammoth.
Let me tell you something what happened. All right. So yesterday I'm standing right next to the defensive players during the 11-on-11s, and Javon Kinlaw whoops someone hard and comes flying in, doesn't tag the quarterback, but it's a sack, and everyone sees it. All the defensive linemen are basically giving him the the woo, and he comes back, and everyone comes up like, man, how are you that big moving that fast? How are you that big moving? Everyone respects him. He just needs to,
And the stuff he did in the run game last year, the strength he showed at the point of attack and stuff, he did have I wouldn't say he had a good rookie season, because I think the expectations for him to have a good rookie season were maybe a little bit through the roof because of who he was replacing and whose number he was wearing. But I thought he had a promising rookie season.
He showed enough to make you think that there's definitely something there.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm not saying it's not. I'm just disappointed that he hasn't been able to do one-on-ones, but there's still 4 more weeks for them to do this when we're not around.
Really,
and we're going to see him with the Chargers in a week.
And the key with Javon Kinlaw is just understanding he is not DeForest Buckner, and a good season for Javon Kinlaw is not going to be 10 sacks. It might be 6, but if you turn on the film, number 99 is just being a menace for offensive lines.
Steve says, is Nick Bosa officially a diva? Well, yeah. He's still a good player, though. But yeah, absolutely. I mean,
you think so?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. No question. But I mean, he's a good player.
So what would you classify as a diva when you're covering an athlete? I'm just interested in that.
Kind of a lone operator. Like he's a hard worker, and he's definitely someone that helps the team, but he's not exactly like Fred Warner's not a diva. Fred Warner is team first. Bosa just seems like, I don't know, like he wears the gold Jordans, he rolls up his shirt. It's a very much a look at me kind of guy, But that's okay. I mean, he's not like cutting corners on the work. He's doing all of his work. He's just definitely a look at me guy.
Okay. Hey, then I got one more question for you.
Jordan shrug after. Come on, dude. You're Michael Jordan, and you wear the Jordan cleats. Like, who do you think you are?
I have one more question for you then, based off of this, and I kind of know the answer here, I think, but I'll ask you, who's the biggest diva you've covered then? I could probably tell you the name, and you'll be like, when I said it, that's who I was thinking.
Kaepernick became one. Randy Moss. Whoa, his only year there, man. Yeah, that guy had a real high opinion of himself, and he wasn't that good anymore. Randy Moss. Yeah, I don't even think Kaepernick could compete with Randy Moss's divaness. I mean, wow. Absolutely. And everyone said that Vernon Davis was a big diva, but I didn't cover that part of his career. I covered mid to late career Vernon, who was just a sweetheart, really nice guy, except for that one time when he got naked in front of me, and I didn't ask for that.
Well, the comment section is saying who I was going to say that I thought you would say. Maybe my favorite 49er ever, because 9-year-old me was just so happy when they drafted him. That's Michael Crabtree. I mean, but I felt like he got that.
Oh, yeah, Crabtree was a total diva,
Eugene Parker was his agent, and him not playing the first 5 games from there was like Niner fans wrote him off as
classic diva. Crabtree for sure. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, good call. There's been some divas. I mean, the wide receivers.
What about Booby Dixon?
No, he was a character, not a diva. Booby Dixon, like a diva doesn't want to talk to you one-on-one. It's just like, dude, I'm fake. I don't even see you right now. Like Booby will be waiting, like, who wants to talk? Who wants to talk?
Honestly,
what do you want to talk about?
Honestly, I didn't mean to throw him into this conversation, but ever since we talked about preseason, and I talked about how excited I am to see Trey Sermon, I'm just thinking of Booby Dixon, who was maybe the greatest preseason running back we've ever seen. They'd give him like 20 carries a game in preseason, and that guy would dominate.
Hell yeah. We were the legend. We remember you, Booby. Landis says Lenore was getting torched today. Is he backsliding, or are they giving him more? Will he make the team? Only time I ever noticed Lenore is when someone catches the ball near him. I'm sorry, he's a rookie, but what? He wasn't getting torched today. They didn't practice today.
He's a 5th round pick on the 3rd team, right?
Yeah,
he's getting
like 13 reps. Player,
is he sliding? Is that sliding?
No, you're right. That's a good point. He's living up to expectations. Pretty much. Man, we still got 1,400 people watching. Hour and a half into the show. That's our show. We could go on for 4 hours, but we got to keep them wanting more. And I'm exhausted, man. I'm so tired. But
you're always tired, Grant. You work too hard.
3 more days.
And when you have days off, you're working hard on Twitter, starting content, communicating with some friends and foes.
I know. I got to do better unplugging. I'll work on it. But it was a pleasure. I always look forward to Mondays with Vish, man. This is a great show. Best show on the net, on the web.
You think so?
On the World Wide Web. I would say it's the best show on the web. Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Do people still call it the web?
I think they call it the internet.
The net? I think my show with my dad's pretty good too. Shout out my dad for having me. Thank you.
I would say that one's better. Your dad definitely knows a lot more than me.
Well, thank you, everyone. I'm done. We're done. We'll be back next week. See you guys in. Next week, there'll be a game to talk about. How about that? Can't wait.
Wait, when's the game again? Sunday?
Saturday.
Interesting.
All right.
Ooh, I'm sad to say this, but once preseason games start, it's not just the Niners. I'll watch like 4 teams start to finish, and I'll be interested in their third and fourth quarters of preseason games with random players, which is a little bit pathetic, but I just love it. So
it's the only sport like that too. I would never watch preseason basketball.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Under no condition.
And football is the only sport I feel like, basketball, you can watch highlights of a high school player and you kind of get an idea of who has it or who doesn't have it after 10-minute highlights, just because like if there's specific things that they can do that you see other people just can't do them. Football is the only sport that, man, to do proper research, you have to watch like 6-7 games.
That's true.
And that's why this draft, I've never been more tired in my life, because I actually had a second job, which was basically watching like 6 quarterbacks and going after game. And I'm glad that now that the Niners have Trey Lance, I will probably not do that ever again in my life. Watch 7 quarterbacks like that. That was.
It's in the past. You don't have to do that anymore.
It was tedious, Grant. It was tedious.